Welcome to Love Mirror, the series in which we give you a 7-day sneak peek into the sex life of a stranger. This video contains disturbing content. This week we hear from Samantha, 42, from West London, who is pansexual and married. Samantha is a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. At just 16, she was groomed and raped by a man almost 10 years her senior, who she met online. This deeply traumatic experience has had a profound impact on Samantha's romantic relationships. "I thought that sex and love meant the same thing," she says. "I thought I needed to have sex with people straight away to prove my seriousness about wanting a relationship with them." She says she had many one-night stands trying to find the one, and was married for 7 years, during which time she had 3 children, now 10, 9, and 8. While going through her divorce in 2021, she met her husband, Matt, who she describes as an amazing man. "He showed me respect and how amazing, fulfilling, and special sex can be. When we met, I felt safe again. I felt excited again. Finally, there was no shame in enjoying sex, the thing that almost ruined me." Samantha says that with Matt, she found the right person to be naked and intimate with, and they recently got married. But despite this, their sex life is currently non-existent, and even though Samantha tries to initiate sex, they've only done it twice this year. She assumes Matt may be struggling to process her past trauma and how it impacts their intimacy. But could he have issues of his own? "Some days are harder than others," Samantha admits. "It's a frustrating and lonely place to be. It's also embarrassing and shameful to admit that I want sex. The one thing which almost broke me. I'm still working on getting to a place where sex and enjoying it is a healthy thought process. It can leave me feeling very inflicted with my emotions. Shame is a horrible thing to deal with." Here's how Samantha got on this week. The following sex diary is, as you might imagine, not suitable for kids. Monday. Being newlyweds, you'd think we couldn't keep our hands off each other, but I can't remember how many weeks or months it's been since I had sex with my husband. My partner Matt is a man who thrives on a strong emotional connection, so he's satisfied by enjoying meaningful and fun time together outside of the bedroom. But I need more. I'm so desperate for physical passion right now that I'd fuck him in the freezer aisle on top of the potato waffles. And I wouldn't even care who was watching. It's not just about the sex, though. It's about the connection, too. Now, as the weeks have dragged on without sex, desperation and confusion have taken over. So today, the demons of past trauma are settling back in. We went to the pub together tonight. There's something incredibly sexy about the way he drinks a pint. All hot and bothered under the collar, I initiated oral sex when we got home. He said he was too tired. Once again, I've gone to bed feeling horny and embarrassed. Tuesday. I've noticed a pattern when it comes to the lack of sex in my marriage, and it seems to center around my hormones, those little fuckers. I'm just about able to bury my head in the sand for around 3 weeks until the lack of sex becomes an issue again. By this point, we usually end up bickering about something minor in which I reveal whatever we're rowing about is just the tip of the iceberg, and then we come full circle back to this problem. I usually end up walking out of the room so we don't argue. He follows me to resolve things. I shout, he shouts, and I then ugly cry while trying to hide my snot bubbles. This is that night. I tell him I feel undesired, which in turn makes me feel unloved, and I usually pin that on my past trauma and unhealthy issues of thinking sex equals love. Clearly it doesn't. He then explains all how he loves me and that he does find me attractive. He promises to do better and make time for intimacy. He says he'll contact the doctor as he may have a low libido problem. In fact, he says all the right things, but his actions fall far below par. As some Irish lads sang, "It's only words." Or was that the Bee Gees? Tonight we go to bed together with our backs to each other as usual, except this time he gives me a peck on the forehead. My eyes sting as I try not to cry. Wednesday. I find it hard to concentrate on driving as I go to work. I have a horrible internal voice which keeps telling me how unloved and undesired I am. I try to look on the positive side and tell myself that at least my husband isn't cheating on me. As someone who just about survived a previous marriage to a serial adulterer, I can say with certainty that my husband is faithful. Perhaps I should get a fuck buddy. No, no, that's not the answer either. We spend the day talking our sex issue through via WhatsApp, a frequent pastime as neither of us can seem to verbalize our problems very well. But it doesn't help. I tell him I can't live like this anymore. It's too demoralizing to feel like I'm begging for sex. I tell him I think we should call time on our sex life. I just can't do it anymore. I can't handle the rejection. Because he's a wonderfully respectful man, he doesn't argue. He says it's not what he wants, but respects me, so he will do it for me. I wonder why he won't have sex with me then, like I've asked. I spend the day working alone, thank goodness, as I look in an absolute state before I reluctantly make my way home to him and our young children. I asked him to sleep in another room tonight. He obliges. I spend until the early hours of the morning Googling sexless marriages and adding myself to Facebook groups that promise to teach you how to live without it. I masturbate as I don't know what else to do. I feel ashamed. Thursday. Today we go on living our lives as if nothing has happened. I wake up, make us a cup of tea, take the kids to school, and then he gives me a hug and quick kiss. After this, there is a moment around lunchtime when my eyes are no longer red from crying, where we enjoy a heated snog and grope in the kitchen. But that's as far as it goes. I call a close friend and ask if we can meet up for a walk. She knows a little bit about the problem I am having. Fresh air, a thermos of tea, and a biscuit or two do wonders for the soul. The time gives me some space for good old-fashioned self-deprecation to get out of my head for a bit. My friend suggests the usual: dress up, do a striptease, surprise him naked in bed. But she just doesn't get the extent of this. Eventually, she looks at me and tells me my husband needs to check his testosterone levels. It's her way of saying she knows this is impacting me more than I am letting on. I'm grateful my husband is asleep when I get home, as I'm exhausted from the last few restless nights. Even so, part of me wishes he'd wake up and ravish me until I pass out from multiple orgasms. One can hope. Friday. I wake up thinking I don't want to go through a divorce again. My next thought is I don't want to be in a sexless marriage. I masturbate in bed next to him while he's still asleep, trying not to wake him. I need something better than a good morning kiss and bad breath. I don't work on Fridays, so once the kids are in school, I go for a long drive. I text him and tell him he needs to work with me to fix this, or I don't see a future in our relationship. The two ticks turn to blue and I can see he's typing a reply. I'm relieved when I read that he doesn't want a divorce either, and he also doesn't want to live in a sexless marriage. He tells me he's been struggling with getting an erection for a while now. He thinks he may be suffering from low testosterone. He's frightened that he's less of a man. I drive home to talk things through. We decide he's going to speak with his GP, open and honest, and see if the problems we are having are related to a physical issue. We go to bed, both of us emotionally drained and quiet. At 3 a.m., he whispers in my ear, he's awake. And we have quick but amazing sex that leaves sexy bite marks on my breasts. My heart is full. Saturday. It's the weekend, so he can't ring the GP, but he does message them through the NHS app to chat to someone on Monday. The kids are with their grandparents for the day, so we go for a walk. I tell him that sex doesn't always have to be about orgasm or penetration. He looks at me blankly. Before meeting my husband, I had a rather more colourful sex life than his smaller pool of experience. I go on to explain to him that sex comes in a variety of formats and pleasure can be had in so many ways. I'm not good at having these conversations and I get embarrassed easily, but he's being receptive to what I'm saying. I tell him how I love it when he plays with my nipples, kisses me passionately, or lets me give him oral sex without him feeling like he needs to return the favour. He looks at me as if all of his Christmas had come at once. Has it been the pressure to perform which has been impacting us? Sunday. While there have been many positive conversations this week, I can't help but feel a little panicked as I think about when we'll next be intimate. We only had sex 8 times last year, and maybe around 10 times the year before that. Often months have passed, and I think once as many as 6. This morning I'm wondering if my sexual ghosts will ever be put to bed. I hope in time they will be, but whether my husband can help me through this remains to be seen. Let's dive into Samantha's story. Imagine this. Samantha once believed that sex and love were the same. I thought that sex and love meant the same thing, she says. I thought I needed to have sex with people straight away to prove my seriousness about wanting a relationship with them. Can you picture that? Samantha felt pressured to show her commitment through immediate physical intimacy. Think about it. She had many one-night stands, desperately trying to find the one. During those years, she got married and had 3 wonderful children, now aged 10, 9, and 8. Now, let's fast forward to 2021. While going through her divorce, Samantha met Matt, her rock. Matt is what she calls an amazing man. Imagine meeting someone like that after years of heartache. He showed me respect, she says, and how amazing, fulfilling, and special sex can be. When we met, I felt safe again. I felt excited again. Finally, there was no shame in enjoying sex, the thing that almost ruined me. Isn't that incredible? With Matt, Samantha found the right person to be naked and intimate with, and they recently got married. But here's the twist. Despite this deep connection, their sex life is currently non-existent. Even though Samantha tries to initiate intimacy, they've only been together twice this entire year. Twice. Let's think about this for a moment. Why do you think this happens in relationships? What factors could be at play here? Samantha's journey is a powerful illustration of how past trauma can shape our present. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever faced similar challenges in your relationships? How did you navigate them? What advice would you offer to someone like Samantha? Samantha's story shows us the complexity of healing and intimacy. Remember this: healing is not a straight path. It's a winding road with many ups and downs. So let's discuss. How can we better support survivors like Samantha in their journey towards intimacy and healing? What steps can we take to create a supportive environment for them? Samantha's resilience is truly inspiring. Let's make sure we create a world where survivors of abuse feel seen, heard, and supported in their journey towards healing. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe to our channel. If you are affected by anything in this video or for help, if you have ever been sexually abused, please view the video description for links to the appropriate helpline.